Despite having more freedom, more education, more career opportunities, and sexual liberation, more than any other generation in history, in fact, modern women are reporting record levels of unhappiness, loneliness, and dissatisfaction. What if this very cultural shift that promised them everything is actually the source of their misery? That's what I want to discuss today. What if they were promised the world and in return, they kind of solidified themselves into misery and dissatisfaction? I get it, guys. And before I even start this video, just let me know I get it. And if you have any hateful things to say about me or about this video in its entirety, make sure you leave it below in the comments. But only do that after you subscribe, because me, as a person, I have no filter and I only speak the truth. And on this channel, I plan to, at times, talk about very difficult things. Things that society does not want you to talk about. But if we can't talk about them openly and honestly, then what's the point, right? So when I get into this, just know that I intend on speaking accurately, truthfully, and giving my honest perspective on what exactly has happened. And I have a couple statistics for you guys that I really think would benefit this video. So it's very surprising because we all know that women are probably the most dissatisfied that they've ever been. Back in the day, they had structure, and I'm not saying that women should be men's property or anything like that. So don't take me out of context. If I have something to say, I'll say it. But don't take it out of context here. I'm simply saying that I believe that women were promised a false bill of goods. Now they have everything, right? They have promising career opportunities, just like men, if not more abundant than men. They're, on average, more educated than their male counterparts. And they have the same freedoms that everyone else has. And in fact, they have more. And there's a massive double standard to dating, which we can get into, or even relationships in general between a man and a woman. But women have gained all of this, and yet they're more miserable than ever. They are. There's very accurate data that can be interpreted as blatantly saying that women are more depressed, they have more anxiety, they feel less happiness, and they feel less fulfillment within their lives because they were promised that if they were equal counterparts to men and they were made to be slaves as well as their male counterparts, right? They're made to be slaves. You can go in the workforce now and you can be a slave. You can be a slave just like your husband. In fact, you need to be, because if not, then due to inflation, people are going to really struggle. But if we convince women that they are just like men, and see, this is the problem. The government said, you know what, you are just like men. And that was manufactured, in fact, by the people at the top because they're destroying our economy. And without this women's revolution, they would have felt it. They would have felt it. Imagine back in the day, a milkman, a husband that provides milk to different neighborhoods, like on foot, door to door, da. Here's your milk, Mrs. Jones. Why, thank you. That person could support comfortably a family of 2, 3, 4 children and a wife, and provide cars and food and a house. I mean, a house, that's a big deal. Nowadays, you can't do that with 2 incomes. And so that makes me think to myself, I wonder what, and I wonder why this movement happened, being the women's rights movement. And yeah, women should definitely have every single right that a man has. If they want to be just as miserable as a man, then go ahead. If you want to go fight in wars and you want to build skyscrapers and you want to be drafted and you want to build automobiles and work on assembly lines, then go for it. Construction workers, be my guest. I don't care about that. My biggest issue is now that women have that, they're not happy. And they're not happy because they have taken away everything that actually brings you fulfillment, especially for a female. And girls, if you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. Girls and guys are different. Guys love their family immensely, but they want to provide for their family. That's why back in the day they would go out and they would hunt with other men, and then they would bring back the food to the tribe to be shared. And that was the man's responsibility. And I'm talking a long time ago, our ancient ancestors. And the job of the female was to nurture and take care of children. That's what it was. It's together. A man and a woman should be together. They shouldn't be equal because they don't do equal things. If there's a jolly green giant of a man and there is a weak little twig man, a little nerdy man, and they both own a, a couch moving company, I don't expect for the Jolly Green Giant and the little twig of a nerdy incel to be lifting the same amount of that couch. But the couch needs to be moved. Now, that was a terrible off the cuff example of what a relationship is like and what a marriage is like and what roles that people take within society. And now that women have been given this gift, which isn't a gift at all, they're now just miserable. More people are on antidepressants. They're not having children. That was the whole thing I was getting at, is women find the most joy in comforting their family and being an essential part in the mental sanctity of their household and taking care of their young and helping their children grow and nurturing them. That's what's so fundamental. That's why we love women so much. And we do love women. We don't hate women. Guys, I don't hate women. I love women. Well, right now I love one because I have a very beautiful girlfriend and I love her to death. But she's not delusional. She knows that I do certain things and she does certain things. So before you call me a misogynist or whatever, just hear me out. Hear me out, YouTube. Hear me out, Internet. I come in peace. I come in peace. Since this happened, women have been miserable. And I think they really got tricked. I think they really, really got tricked. They got tricked by the higher powers that may be within the United States, that if they were only equal, that they would be happy. And they're not happy. They're not happy at all. In fact, they're miserable because the one thing that was actually meaningful in life was taken away from them. Now we're all slaves. Congratulations. You got exactly what you wanted. It's like when you find a lamp and rub it and a genie comes out and says, you have 3 wishes. I will grant you 3 wishes. You have to be very careful what you wish for, because if you get it, it might not be exactly what you had intended. It won't be what you hoped for. It could be something differently, very different entirely. And that's what it is. It's just not the way it should be. And I think that women need to realize that. And women, I think, were manipulated. And I don't even know if it was a psyop or if they just put it into their heads or if it was totally organic in the women's rights equality movement. But regardless of how it came to be, how it came to fruition, the fact is that it has made women miserable. Look at birth rates. Look at birth rates. They're not having children. They're not getting married. And then when that time clock begins to reach the buzzer beater within their ability to bear offspring, then they freak out. They become miserable. They freak out because they've realized that all they've done throughout their entire existence up until that point has been useless. It hasn't been anything worth doing. They haven't built anything worth preserving. All they've done is go into the workforce and attempt to make a bunch of money. Men don't like doing that either. I hate to break it to you. As a man, we don't like doing that. We do it as a necessity, and we love to provide for women. We want them to be able to do it on their own, but they shouldn't be forced to. And maybe that's controversial. Call me old school all you'd like. They shouldn't be forced to. They shouldn't, and that's the problem. That's the major issue. And so if you've realized this, and I'm not the arbiter of how to fix this, I'm just the one that relays the way that society feels to you guys, and then you guys can interpret it on your own. Let me know in the comments right now. Have you guys noticed this? Do you think I'm absolutely delusional? If you're a man, have you noticed this? What do you think? What do you think about this? Let me know. And if you're a female, are you happy? Write in the comments. How old are you? Are you happy with this? Are you upset at this? Of course, I know you probably don't want to work, but what do you think happened? I'm just asking the question here. What do you think happened? Because something happened. And I think that it was something that was intentionally determined for women in order to relieve the pressure of our financial collapse, but it's inevitable because if you have two people working, then it's almost like, hey guys, we don't realize that milk is not 25 cents, it's now 75 cents. You're like, well, it's okay. You don't realize that a house is no longer $16,000. I mean, shit, nowadays a house is, for an average house, not even a nice house, it's $500,000, 460, and I live in the Midwest. I'm not talking about very prestigious real estate here. I'm not talking about very refined school districts. I'm talking about just general cookie cutter home. It's almost $500,000. I think that this women's movement just delayed the suffering of what was inevitable. If you disagree with me, let me know. I love disagreeing with people. It's totally fine, and I can have my opinion changed. My mind is malleable. I keep an open mind, just not open enough to where my brains spill out. So, thank you guys. Make sure you keep watching my content. Make sure you subscribe.